the YLEVent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. I'm Joe Lancello, filling in for Chase Miller this week. And this week we'll be talking high school football from Winnimac and Fosston, as well as Dilworth, Glendon, Felton, and volleyball from Kindred. And we'll also have our senior spotlight, or maybe I should say spotlights. A little bit of a tease there for you. But we'll start things off here in this opening segment with Tony Soderberg, the coach of the Dilworth, Glendon, Felton Raiders, who are off to a 1-1 start this season. Welcome back to the YLEVent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. I'm Joe Lancello with Tony Soderberg, the coach of the Dilworth, Glendon, Felton Rebels, who are 1-1 on the year. Sounds like it was a really exciting game with the opener against Barnesville, where you wound up on the short end of a 14-7 score, but then came back to beat Fergus Falls last week.
Yeah.
Could you talk about those games?
Well, the Barnesville game, it was a good physical football game, two well-coached teams. It's 8-7 at halftime. There was not a lot of offensive plays or plays in general in the game because the clock was always running because you had two teams that run the ball. So in the second half, we just couldn't quite find a rhythm. We had one play on first or second down that kind of just, put us in a bad situation, and we weren't able to overcome some of those scenarios. And Barnesville got a score, and it's one of those things where. Looking back at film, there's some things we'd like to change and do differently. But also, I thought our kids played really good football, especially for week one, against a really good team too. So, there's going to be take and give with that. We have to take the loss, but it's also going to give our kids an opportunity to see, what are those little things that we need to work on. Whereas if we played a team that won 42-0 and just, we're good, wouldn't quite got that information. So I think, it was a good learning experience for our kids moving forward. And I think we were able to see a lot of those things be corrected that we weren't quite doing right in that game. In the next game against Fergus Falls, where I think offensively, we had the ball 4 times in the first half, and we scored all 4 times. 3 times in the second half, and we scored once, but we were a lot more efficient and assignment sound, and we were doing the little things really well that game. So I think it's kind of been a good physical football game the first week. We learned from it, and then we came out and performed better, and that's what we wanted to do, is keep building toward that playoff time.
How many fellows do you have back from last year's team that made it to US Bank Stadium?
We have about 6 or 7 on both sides of the ball. Last year we experienced a couple of injuries along the way, so we had a couple kids that started a couple games for us. We only had a senior class of 10 kids, so we're going to have to rely on juniors and sophomores who are now seniors and juniors. Probably about 6 or 7 on each side of the ball.
Nick Wally, I remember, was a wingback on offense for you, and in the semifinal, and came in to play the tailback spot and did very well then. Is he continuing to do that for you?
Yeah. I mean, besides Nick Wally, we had Brody Friend and Bodie DeVries, who also lined up at the running back position, or one of our wings, in both of the games, the state championship game and the semifinal game. And Wally's done a great job, and Brody Friend and Brody DeVries are good athletes too. And then we got a kid back who got injured last year, Kingston McChesky, who he was in a car. He was on a scooter during those 2 games because he hurt his foot, but he's back now, so he'd have been playing for sure in those games too. So besides Summers, of course, our backfield is pretty much back and intact.
How about on defense? Who are some guys that have been doing well for you?
We've had Caleb Johnson take over Owen Leach's spot at free safety. He's been doing well. Casey McChesky, Ethan Heller would play a middle linebacker spot. We've got Nick Wally and Bodie DeVries playing an outside linebacker spot for us. Bodie Friend was a returning corner. Got another corner, Cade Swenson, and then up front we have Brody O'Keefe, who started DM for us all year last year. We got an Aiden Adine and a Josh Dudgeon who played quite a bit during the season last year. And then Bodie Musoff, who stepped up and played a defensive end for us this year. A lot of Bodies and Brodies on the team. It's quite confusing, actually. But, yeah, so, we got some solid kids playing for us for sure. Okay.
Now, this week you go on the road to Thief River Falls, another team that's 1-1. What do you know about them?
Well, offensively, they're going to do what Barnesville does, and they're going to line up double tight, flat tee, and run the football at you. So it's going to be a physical football game. Watching on film, I don't think they have the exact players they had last year. They had some really good running back / D linemen that gave us a lot of trouble last year. Luckily, those kids graduated, but they're going to be sound fundamental football. They've done a great job the last couple of years turning that program around, and we're going to have to be ready to play physical football on both sides of the ball and really execute well, and make sure that we understand some situations that they threw at us last year that we'll need to focus on a little bit. But it's a glorified practice, and the main thing is to try to stay healthy and learn from it so we get ready for playoff football time.
All right, Tony Soderberg, coach of the Dilworth Glendon Felton Rebels, thank you for the time today, and best of luck on Friday.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll continue with the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show right after this.
Hillsborough Economic Development Committee provides information and a support for small businesses. Experience Hillsborough. More at 104.
Your Live Event Coaches Show. I got the head coach of the Fosston Greyhounds, Joe Woods, with me. Coach, 1-1 headed into week 3. Where do you think your team is at going into week 3 right now?
You know what? I think that we started out really hot in our first week. We got some traction going, and then we ran into an excellent team over in Winnie-Mac. We learned a lot from that game. We learned a lot. We realized some techniques that we have to fix. We realized some assignments that we have to fix. And you know what? I'm feeling good about our upcoming week this week. I think that we worked pretty hard in practice yesterday and this week, and I think we're at a good spot.
And you mentioned Winnie-Mac. Kind of talk about the problems that they posed, the matchup problems, especially with a dynamic player like Ryan Kangas over there, and really was a tough guy to stop.
Ryan Kangas, we heard a lot about him going into the game, and obviously a lot of people want to talk about him. He's a dynamic football player, and he's great. But Winnie-Mac does a lot of really good things with the players that they have around him. They have the Howard boy. They have a stout offense and defensive line. They have other, weapons as receivers. And all those guys really played as a unit. They really played well, and they were just athletic. They were able to get our guys thinking and doing some spin moves and just, doing some stuff that we weren't ready for. But our guys responded really well. I thought our defense played excellent. Obviously the scoreboard was a little bit different, but we also got them within 4th and 1, 5-6 times, and that's our defense really working hard. And our guys were flying in, and it was just 1 or 2 mistakes, and they busted for a big run. And when you're playing against a dynamic team like that, that's all it takes. It takes 1 or 2 times of one guy missing assignment or just the right block, and they'll bust it for a big run. But overall, I thought our defense really did well. I think that our offense really has to get some traction.
You guys, your offense was humming week 1. What do you got to do to get it back on track against a tough Kittson County Central team that is 2-0 coming into week 3 to face you guys?
Reestablish the line of scrimmage. I do believe that in order to open up the offense, you have to be able to run the ball, and that falls on the shoulders of the offensive line and of the fullback and of the running back. And I take that very personally, being an offensive lineman and also coaching the offensive line. So I think we need to reestablish the line of scrimmage. We need to fire off the ball, and we just need to do our job. And if we do those things, I believe that we'll continue to trend in upward direction.
What's the point of emphasis in practice this week going up against a team? They've only given up 14 points all year long, so definitely a tough defense that you're coming up to face.
Do the little things the right way. That's even when you're absolutely exhausted, you have to rely on the technique that we practice every single day in practice. And going against a really tough team like that, if you don't have the correct technique, you're not going to be successful. So we're really going to hone in on that, doing the little things the right way, being coachable. Our guys do a really good job at that. So now we need to apply those things. And that's been a big thing we've talked about, just working on your technique and now taking that from practice and bringing that forth into the game night. Because after we turned on the film, there were some technical breakdowns that we just have to fix. Our guys noticed that and they understand that and they responded really well.
Is that kind of like the message to the team, is that they're, you guys are right there, but it's just a little bit of the mental mistakes that you just need to clean up and then you can just compete with the best of them?
Exactly. I mean, the biggest thing is we don't want anyone to panic. We came up short and it was by quite a bit points, but we're 0-0 this week and we can't hit the panic button and all of a sudden get really nervous. We just have to continue to do our job. We talk about it all the time. Don't look at the big picture. We need to live in the moment and control what we can control. And if you keep doing those little things the right way, the big thing will come. But we can't have guys pressing. We can't have guys panicking. We can't have guys trying to do too much. So we're just going to continue to live in the moment. And that's yesterday during film. That's today getting out to practice on time, going through the calisthenic lines correctly, giving 110% in individual drills and in the team drills. So, yeah, that is the point of emphasis. But, we're 0-0 and we had one loss to a really good team. And I don't think it's time to hit the panic button yet.
And then physically, how are you guys feeling right now? Do you have anything on the injury front? Are the guys feeling all right physically coming into week 3?
Yep, a few guys got banged up, but nothing that a little bit of ice and rest can't help. We got some players that should be coming back fairly soon to join the team and play. And overall, I think we're feeling well. Yep, we think we're feeling well with our weekend off.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time with us today, Coach Woods. And you guys are on the road against Kitson County Central this weekend. Going to be a fun matchup between you guys. Best of luck out there.
Thank you. Yep, they're a great team, and they've been doing it for a long time at a really high level. So I'm really excited to get up there and get north at 3:30 and play some football. All
right, Coach. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Hey growers, when working on your water management solutions, call Chad's Excavating out of Mayville. They are your water management contractor, helping you with tile drainage plans, service drainage plans, or both. Remember, water management is a lifetime investment. Call Chad 701-430-0182 to get your water problem solved. For more information, follow Chad's Excavating on Facebook. For tile drainage and service plans, call 701-430-0182. Chad's Excavating out of Mayville, helping farmers grow.
Do you want that new boat? Are you building onto your home? Maybe you want the new camper or ATV. Dakota Heritage Bank can help you. This is Dustin Nagel, president at Dakota Heritage Bank Hillsborough location. You can visit with me or our other loan officers to help with loans and lines of credit from Dakota Heritage Bank. We are serving you with locations in North Dakota and Northwest Minnesota. Dakota Heritage Bank offers financial services you expect with a local perspective. dhbanknd.com. Dakota Heritage Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
There's more at 104. Hillsborough, North Dakota has everything you need on your next road trip. Food, fuel, fun, and family-friendly activities. Stop by and fill up your tank or grab a bite to eat. Have a blast at Goose River Golf Club, the swimming pool, or one of our beautiful parks. There's even ice skating and cross-country skiing. Take in the sights or stay the night so you don't miss a thing. Experience Hillsborough and see why there's more at 104.
Welcome back to the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. We'll be talking volleyball with Carena Ashburn of Kindred in just a moment. But first, we're going to get back to football. James Martin's had a chance to talk with Aaron Cook, the coach of the Winnie Mac Patriots.
Your Live Event Coaches Show continues here. I'm with head coach of the Winnie Mac Patriots, Aaron Cook. Coach, 2-0 going into week 3. Where would you assess you guys are at headed into week 3?
No, overall, been a good start to the season. Went down, played a pretty tough Ashburn and Evansville squad week 1. New co-op down there for them, and we knew they'd pose a pretty good challenge. They'll actually be 11-man come playoff time. So that was a pretty hard-fought game. Came away 22-12. And then week 2, another new opponent with Fosston coming down to 9 men for the first time, kind of a rivalry game there. I think AD Langemo said the gate might be one of the biggest we've ever had for a football game. So it was a fun atmosphere. And, our guys, we played pretty well. Offense was pretty efficient. Defense did a pretty good job. Game didn't start off so great with Fosston taking the opening kickoff to the house, but our guys responded well. And like I said, we were very efficient offensively. The time we were stopped all night was a drive we kind of stopped ourselves with a penalty and a drop 4th down pass in the red zone. So happy going with where we're at now, but no time to sit and pat ourselves in the back, as these next 2 weeks are going to be really difficult with GGG coming up. They're probably one of the top teams up in Section 8. And then we follow them up with another rivalry game with Fertile Beltrami on the schedule. 2-time defending champions out of Section 6, state runner-ups 2 years ago, semifinals last year, and they're really, really good again this year. So 2-0 with 2 very tough opponents coming up.
Looking at the numbers from last week, Ryan Kangas, his numbers really stuck out to me. 178 yards just on 16 touches of the football. What's it like coaching a player of that magnitude?
No, Ryan's probably the most dynamic kid we've ever had. There's a reason he's going on scholarship to play Division II football next year. Just really good athlete. And, he's always wanting to get better. Very coachable kid. Loves the game, understands the game as well. He'll bring ideas, suggestions over. And you just watch some of the things he can do on the football field with the way, how quickly he can move, quick cuts. And then once he gets in the open field, the speed he has, there's really not many people out there who are catching him. So he's a very fun player, dynamic player to watch.
You guys got Grigla Goodrich coming up. They're riding high. They had a big victory just a week ago. Some momentum. You guys have momentum as well, but it should be a tough matchup. Yeah,
they're going to be a physical football team. Lewis Jones is kind of their dude that they like to ride quite a bit, whether it's running the ball or even in the passing game. Rick Locke, pretty good quarterback coming back from last year. And you go back to last year a little bit, kind of why GGG was the favorites coming in. And they had kids in kind of where not many teams had KCC last year in that section championship game. And they bring back some guys from that team. They got some big linemen coming up there, some guys who like to get out in space and put people on their backs. So, no, it's going to be a lot of fun. They kind of took on the chin. It's OTC week 1, OTC dropping down from 11-man to 9-man down in Section 4 as well. OTC was actually AA not too long ago, going to state in both AA and single A. So that's a pretty good squad. They lost to week 1. Watching the film, they definitely had their chances, their opportunities. They would drive the ball, but kind of stall out a little bit. So last week they looked really efficient offensively. Looked like they figured some things out blocking wise, who's supposed to be where, scheme wise, schematically. So a lot of things we're going to have to go up against. Last year when we played GGG, I think they put a 20 spot on us in both the first 5 minutes of the game. And I think the final score ended up being like 28-12 or something of that nature. So it was a very competitive game after the fact, but we got to be ready for that blitz right away, that physicality we haven't quite seen yet this year.
Then in practice this week, what's the point of emphasis that you're kind of hitting on where you guys need to improve coming into this week?
Offensively, it's some blocking things up front. We got to drive block a little bit better. We got to create some space. We had some backs making plays for us last year. We weren't giving them some holes and things to run through. So we got to be better at the point of attack on the line, especially the interior portion of the line just needs to be better. So we're going to work on that. And then defensively, there's some different challenges that GGG poses at us with how they attack in the run game. So we got to put in some strategies and shift some things around on how we want to attack them back.
And then heading into week 3, where are you guys at physically? How are the guys feeling physically coming into week 3?
I'm pretty good right now. This time of the season, always some bumps and bruises. No major injuries to this point, other than what we had coming into the year. A freshman, Daniel Spry, tore his ACL this summer. He would have been a contributor for us both offensively and defensively. So we're kind of thin without him in some certain spots. But other guys, bumps and bruises, maybe a rolled ankle here or there. But for the most part, we're doing okay.
All right, Coach, and what gets it done against the Chargers this week?
Like I said, it's just matching their physicality. Defensively, we're going to have to come out and they're going to try to pop us. We're going to have to take it to them. We're going to play sound football. And, up front, offensively, we talked about if we can move some guys, our backs are going to make things happen. We're going to get guys in space. They're going to key on Ryan a lot. Even if you key on him, he's still going to get his yards and his touches and his carries. He's just that dynamic of an athlete. But if they start keying too much on him, some other guys are going to have to continue to step up and make plays.
Who can we look to step up out of Ryan then?
Braylon Hammer stepped in the quarterback role this year. Done a really good job for us. We do run our quarterback quite a bit out of our offensive system, so he stepped into that role and done a nice job doing that. He's made a lot of really nice reads for us in our read game, and then Bergen Howard kind of bringing that physicality, both blocking and running the ball. We got to see him continue to step up offensively there and really bring it for us.
Thanks for your time, Coach, and best of luck this week against the Chargers.
Thank you.
Live, work, and play here in Hillsborough, North Dakota. The Hillsborough Economic Development Committee can assist you with information and support for business and housing. Experience Hillsborough. More at 104.
As we head to the volleyball court now, joining us from the Kindred Vikings, she is Carena Ashburn, the head coach for Kindred. And Carena, as always, you get to this time of the season, the hope from a coach's perspective, whether you're bringing back 10 players to have had varsity experience or you graduated 10 from a season ago, roles always change year in and year out. So I always like to ask coaches when we get to the mid part of September, how has everything gone for, a month of volleyball, from practices to, kind of getting some volleyball matches going to where you're playing 2-3 matches on a particular week here, Coach?
It's been going pretty well. I can say that I'm pleased with the energy that the girls are bringing into the gym. You're right. We did have a big group graduate last year, so there's a lot of new roles this year. And I'm excited to see where everybody kind of fits in. And we haven't found it yet, but we're going to get there. And just like everybody else, there's ups and downs to a season. So I do like the energy that the girls are bringing into the gym. They are very hard workers. So we have a lot to work on, but that's what the whole season is for.
What does a particular match, like the tournaments that you play in the Volley in the Valley tournament in Castleton, the upcoming Valley City tournament this weekend, what do those provide for you as a coach? Do you tinker around much, or is that, okay, we like these, 8 to 10 players, let's get them as much reps and, uniformity and in rhythm? How do you kind of go about that from a coaching staff?
It's definitely a preparation moment, and I like to tinker around with our rotation. I like to give some of our bench players opportunities that they wouldn't normally get in a match. But I also take the standpoint of, if somebody gets hurt and you have no idea what you're doing, it's kind of hard to throw you in the mix and just expect you to perform normally. So I like to tinker around with the rotation at those tournaments. So this last weekend at the Volley in the Valley, we did have some of our bench players get some time this weekend, and it's good. It's good to see growth. It's good to see their chemistry work just beyond, what's on the court. We have some depth in our bench, and I really do enjoy that. And I think the girls really just gel well together.
Before we talk about one or two of the players here, Carena, what's something you want to see as a coach once you get to the old dog days of volleyball, which is late September, early October? You come to school and it's kind of getting dark again. You leave school, it's getting a little darker and the daylight's not out there. So, postseason is sooner rather than later around. But from your point of view here, as you get to the next couple of weeks, what do you want to see from your team?
I'd really like to just see us push through some adversity. We had a really tough 5-set match against Hillsborough, and it was good to have it so early in the season because it just goes to show how much they're willing to fight for it. I mean, being down 0-2, come back, win the next two, and being down set 4, that's a pretty big accomplishment. And us not being able to finish that game, not being able to win set 5, was kind of like a setback, but it's a good reflection of what can we do to prepare for the next time that happens, because it probably will happen again.
As we go through some of the players here, first things first, Cassie Murphy, what have you liked from her standpoint as a coach? What does she bring to this year's Kindred volleyball squad?
Cassie is just a really fun, she's just so much fun. She has a really great energy. She knows how to bring her team in, help rise. I'm just really looking for that leadership piece in her. And she's very solid in the back row defensively, serve, receive. She just works every single day. And she changed roles from last year. She was a right side for me last year. This year she is an outside. She's got a lot of power. She's probably amongst the top 3 in our gym as far as power goes in her swing, but she's smart with the ball. And I know she put in a lot of work over the spring and the summer to really up her game, and it's set her ahead.
A couple other players for you here too. Coach Leah Rowland, and someone that when you've looked down at the varsity level or JV level for a number of years now, it feels like you've seen Leah's name in some capacity in some kind of sports. I'm sure there's coaches going, isn't she graduated by now, for crying out loud? But what does Leah bring to this year's squad?
Leah just has that hustle and she really goes after everything. She's very coachable, which is why you see her in other sports too. She's an all-out hustler and she's going to work for you and she's going to work for her team. And she's even this past weekend, she's watching film between matches because she wants to know how to better for the next game so that she can make sure that she's doing her best. And they probably do wish she'd graduate, but I'm glad that she hasn't. So.
And then one more player this time around talking with you, Jansen Jordheim. What does she kind of provide? Again, same question to the club this year moving forward.
She really provides that stability. Jansen's been a part of the varsity program last year as well. And she understands the game. She sees the floor really well. And she just offers that kind of leadership and mentorship to the kids around her. And I'm hoping that she can carry that with her as she graduates this year. But she's just a really great, solid player for us. And I'm looking forward to what she can provide to us towards the end of the season.
I know it's early, but there's been a couple of volleyball matches so far. And any time we've already alluded to, you lose different players. Sometimes it might be a head coach or assistant coaches. So stuff kind of changes within systems. Anything surprise you early on in Region 1, or does it feel as balanced as maybe in other years? It's just maybe there's different names from a volleyball player standpoint that used to be there for 3-4 years, as we've talked about. They've graduated, maybe not a Lee or a Jansen, but there's new names, new faces, maybe more so this year in Region 1 than what we've had in the last 2-3 years, I think, in girls athletics here, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's pretty balanced. I know that there's some names that popped up. Wyndmere Lidgerwood is definitely, on our radar. Of course, Northern Cass. I mean, Josie Jensen's still there. So I would just say the region has a lot to expect. I've been watching scores and I'm shocked every night at what I see. And so I just know that it's going to come down to the end and who's willing to fight for it. So all of this leading up to it is just going to be great preparation and some great volleyball.
Well, thing for you before we let you go, the big news last week about this time was 3-class volleyball system. I don't think it's a surprise that it got passed, particularly once basketball is getting going this winter. I know talking with some fans and a few in between in the game of volleyball, they said, well, it's interesting why it's maybe waiting an extra year, where you're going to have Class B, Class A this year and next year before 2025. I guess just your thoughts, Carena, on it. I'm sure you've been asked by coaches, been asked by parents, been asked by students as well once the news kind of broke. But just from a Kindred perspective, from your perspective with your volleyball program, how is this going to or not going to, kind of impact you in the future as you see it?
I mean, there's still going to be quite a few teams that come along with us in the change. And I think with every sport, there's always a shift. Like there's always going to come a time for change. So I'm not like really for or against it at all, but I do believe that there's sounds like there's need for change and that's why it's coming. I know they did push it back a year. I'm kind of thankful for that just because they haven't really figured out how they're going to run state volleyball. And that is a big thing to just kind of lay it all out there. So I'm glad to see that they're taking the extra time to make sure that we can run the tournament the right way. Because it's about the girls and having the opportunity to be there and experience everything. And I'd hate for it to be rushed or cut short because we didn't have all of our ducks in a row. So I do think it'll bring some new competition, which I'm excited to see with the new change. But overall, I think it's just going to be great to keep playing the game that we love to play and, have fun.
Carena, as always, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck throughout this week and moving forward here for Vikings volleyball this season.
Thank you so much.
Hey, look, I found Bigfoot. How tall is he? What? No, not that Bigfoot. The Bigfoot Trail. The Bigfoot Trail? Yeah, it's the Trail County Parks and Walking Challenge. All you have to do is visit at least 10 of 12 parks listed on the clue sheet, answer questions about each park, and return the completed sheet to the Trail District Health Unit by September 30th. Do I get anything if I complete the challenge? Yes, you get a free t-shirt and other participation prizes. Get your sheet on the Trail District Health Unit website and get your feet moving on the Bigfoot Trail.
Bank of North Dakota wants you to be confident when it's time to make student loan decisions. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident to calculate the maximum amount of student loan debt that is recommended based on your career choice. You can also learn how to apply for financial aid and get tips to cut education expenses. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident today.
Treat yourself to a great career at American Crystal Sugar Company. Team up with quality people making quality products. Full-time and year-round in a stable business. With great pay and benefits including time off available from day one, American Crystal Sugar Company invests in you to promote your continued growth and career advancement. Grow your career doing your best work within the world's best beet sugar company. Apply online today at AmericanCrystalCareers.com.
Welcome back to the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. Time now for our Senior Spotlight, and for that, we'll turn it over to Kevin Kochman.
As our guest here today as our stars of the game, that being Callie Solseng. Callie Solseng is senior from Ada Borup West. Callie, I know that your role this season has been much, and even looking back to last year, serving the volleyball. Team game. Finding your role, how easy is it to accept your role on this squad with the success you're having right now?
It's pretty easy, especially since I can trust my teammates to get it in, hit it down. It works well.
You had a good run again tonight, and I know the match I saw you last week, Thursday, against Norman County East Jewel and Hitterdall, you served the ball really well. Is this something that you enjoy? I mean, like serving, you spend a lot of time. You're a specialist. You're going to be doing a lot of that in practice?
Yeah, I serve a lot in practice. It's fun.
That's good. That's good. What's your key to success when it comes to serving the volleyball?
I focus on where I want to serve and my techniques to serve, and yeah, the spot's open.
There you go. Okay, so unique season. First off, senior year. Are you having fun? Are you enjoying this senior year thus far?
Yeah, it's been great so far.
You're recognizing, and Coach Lee being in his position with the Minnesota Volleyball Coaches Association, huge advocate pushing this 50th anniversary of volleyball in Minnesota. 50 years, and pretty neat because you've got a line judge in the back, and Pat Fund, who was there at the beginning of this at the school that you're now attending. How unique is it to be a part of such a celebration of volleyball?
I think it's awesome just to experience and to bring these people back to honor them for what they started.
Favorite part about it? I know it's one thing to be able to enjoy taking a photo, doing some high fives, and bringing them into it, but all the way down to playing 70s music in the warm-ups. I mean, there's a lot of details you guys are putting together this year.
Yeah, I don't know, it's just all coming together great, and it's fun to see them back here and listen to the stats Mr. Lee was saying at the start. I don't know, I think it's pretty cool to hear about that from the start.
Absolutely. And so this is going to continue throughout September. You guys are going to do the recognition, but ultimately it culminates in the 50 years of volleyball. That it's special. You're a part of it. From that standpoint, it is your senior year. What are some of the things you're looking forward to, just as a senior in high school? What are you looking forward to this year to accomplish before taking the stage for graduation?
The rest of the volleyball season, when softball starts, homecoming, the generic.
the benchmarks, right?
Yeah.
You want to hit all the items. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, thoughts about after high school, Callie? What are you thinking about?
I think I want to go to UND.
Okay. I'm not shocked by that.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows Callie probably shouldn't be shocked by that, but okay, UND, and what would you like to do?
Probably go in the medical field.
Okay. Also not too shocking. That's okay.
Yep.
Are you thinking? I know. Are you thinking eyes? Or are you thinking? Who knows yet?
Not eyes probably, but
okay.
Looking for anything. I
There
guess
you go.
still have time. So.
Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. You could make your mind up, and you could change your mind between now and then. But okay. Well, very good. It looks like you're like you say, you're set up. You guys are having some fun. How cool was it to win the Ruth Hayden Tournament of Roses volleyball tournament over the weekend?
That was awesome. I still have chills thinking about it.
Guys were able to complete a really good tournament at home. You finish up here on a Monday night with a win. Now the rest of the week you get to prepare for the Crosby tournament Saturday. A big one for you, isn't it?
Yes, very big, yeah.
And it's an overnighter, so you guys get to have some team bonding?
Mm-hmm. It should be fun.
Okay, there were stories last year I remember hearing about the hotel stays. We're not going to talk about those, but I'm sure, like anything, it's always fun. You guys will enjoy yourselves. But Go out there and have some fun. Callie, to you and your teammates, congratulations on the success early so far, and good luck here this next weekend.
Thank you.
You got it. That's Callie Solseng for Ada Borup West Volleyball. Thank you, Callie. Appreciate you coming up here. She's one of our stars.
That's going to do it for this edition of the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. Next week, we'll be talking high school football from Botno. We'll also talk to the cross-country coaches from Pauley and Ada Borup. We'll talk some volleyball with Climax Fisher and Lake Park Audubon. And we'll also have another senior spotlight to introduce you to. And that'll do it. I'm Joe Lancello. Chase Miller will be back next week. And we'll talk to you later on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week at 7.